think so.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, selamat sejahtera dan selamat pagi. Prosiding pendengaran penerimaan masuk Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaya pada hari ini, Jumaat, 1 April 2022, dijalankan secara sidang video Zoom di atas persetujuan semua pihak. Hakim yang bersidang pada hari ini adalah Yang Arif Dato Ahmad Kamal bin Muhammad Shahid, Hakim Mahkamah Tinggi, Bahagian Kuasa-Kuasa Khas 1. Seterusnya, Mahkamah ingin mengingatkan semua pihak agar kekal di kedudukan masing-masing dan tidak menutup video walaupun setelah selesai giliran. Diminta kerjasama tuan-puan agar tidak melayari live streaming di YouTube berdekatan tuan-puan di dalam bilik yang sama semasa prosiding berjalan kerana dikhawatiri akan mengganggu sistem rakaman audio. Terima kasih. Dipohon kepada wakil-wakil yang hadir pada hari ini bagi pihak Jabatan Peguam Negara, Majlis Peguam Malaysia dan Jawatan Kuasa Peguam Kuala Lumpur dan Selangor untuk memperkenalkan diri. Silakan.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, Rohaiza binti Hamzah, Peguam Kanan Persekutuan bagi pihak Peguam Negara. Terima kasih.
Assalamualaikum, dan dengan izin Yang Arif, saya Nik Alin Zurina binti Nik Abdul Rashid mewakili Majlis Peguam Malaysia.
Izin Yang Arif, K. Selvi bagi pihak Jawatan Kuasa Peguam Kuala Lumpur dan Selangor. Terima kasih Yang Arif.
Terima kasih. Mahkamah akan memanggil nombor petisyen satu persatu. Apabila nombor petisyen dipanggil, pempetisyen diminta berdiri dan memperkenalkan diri. Kemudian, peguam pengusul atau MUA akan membacakan latar belakang pempetisyen sehingga selesai. Dengan izin Yang Arif, petisyen pertama WA 1826303 2021 P1, sila perkenalkan diri dahulu.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, saya Sabrina binti Muhammad Amin, pempetisyen pertama pada pagi ini.
Silakan M1.
Dengan izin Arif, saya S. Surendran bagi pihak pempetisyen Sabrina binti Muhammad Amin. Rakan-rakan bijaksana saya, Puan Rohaiza binti Hamzah bagi pihak Jabatan Peguam Negara, Cik Nik Alin Zurina binti Nik Abdul Rashid bagi pihak Majlis Peguam Malaysia, dan Cik Selvi Kanu Sabai bagi pihak Jawatan Kuasa Peguam Kuala Lumpur dan Selangor. Ya Arif, dengan rendah diri saya memohon untuk mengusulkan pendengaran permohonan petisyen di pagi ini dalam bahasa Inggeris.
Ya, silakan.
My Lord, please allow me to introduce the petitioner. The petitioner was born in Penang, 31st of March 1997, and is the eldest child of Encik Muhammad Amin and Puan Fatimah Karim. Upon getting excellent results in SPM, she was in a quandary where and what career path that she choose from then on. Now, being the kids of the 90s, she was, or 97, late 90s I should say, her interest in law tweaked by watching law programs like The Suits and Law and Order. I believe some of the movers here, we all were looking at it. We were actually watching LA Law and things like that. So now, her interest in criminal law actually was tweaked by watching Law and Order. Now, at the same time, the petitioner was just as passionate in performing arts. Now, this is largely due to her mum, who was very active in the Penang performing arts. And therein arose a dilemma. What does she do? And I must say this, thankfully for all of us, members of the bar, she chose to go and read law at the International Islamic University and graduating in honours in 2021. And the petitioner thereafter commenced her pupillage at Mrs. Santosh Anandan. My Lord, the petitioner wishes to convey her utmost gratitude and appreciation to all those people who have supported her throughout her journey thus far, both in her education and also in her personal life. Now, first and foremost, the petitioner wishes to thank her parents who have been in the forefront, witnessing the petitioner's ups and downs, achievements, disappointments, joys, and tears, and constantly supporting her. I might also add, my Lord, that I know the parents of the petitioner very well. Encik Amin and I used to be colleagues at one point, and I've seen Sabrina grow up from the age of 5. So I know the family quite well, and I know how much of love and affection goes into or went into their upbringing thus far. Now, the petitioner also wished to thank the other gift that her parents gave her, which is her younger brother, Arshad Amin, who has been her friend, a partner in crime, and someone who's always been there for the petitioner without fail. Another excellent young man, and she wishes to thank her for being there at all times. Now, the petitioner is a person who treasures family and is truly blessed with one that stands by her through thick and thin and showers her with advice, tough love, she calls it. And most of all, she's blessed to have a family that is ready to catch her whenever she falls. And the petitioner also wishes to state that ever since childhood, she always had this overwhelming support and overflowing of love from her grandparents, Abdul Karim and Puan Karunisha. The petitioner describes them as kind, loving, and the most generous people she knows, and they are the pillars in her life, without whom she would not be where she is today. And she is one proud grandchild. The petitioner also wishes to thank her uncles, 2 uncles, Farid Karim and Fazrul Karim, for constantly pushing her to the limits and driving her to, I quote, insanity with the constant mockery and teasing as she makes life decisions, as all uncles should do anyway to their nieces. The petitioner states that she would never be able to reach for the stars if not for the help, motivation, words of advice, and the annoying amount of tough love that they give. Now, moving on to her friends. The petitioner wishes to thank the following persons: Ayuni Naiza, Nurul Najiha, Zairin Zainuddin, Ain Akifa, Amira Fatima, Nick Aina Sofia, Aini Ajira, Kabir Rahman, and Saiful Akmal, for being her support system throughout her 5 years whilst reading law at the International Islamic University. Aisha Nabiha, Tengku Sarah Nurina, Balkis Zainal, and Anis Najati, whom have been her rock, her cheerleaders, and her shoulders to cry on. She says thank you for being a constant in her life and looks forward to reaching many more milestones with all of them. Next is Michelle Para, Kimberly Tan, Tanya Swaminathan, Alisa Anasha, Esther Pena, for never failing to lift the petitioner's spirits when she's down, whether it's by comforting words or through numerous video calls. and they've always been supporting the petitioner and showering her with love from afar. Now comes the most important person, her mover, myself, Your Honor, for being the petitioner's first role model in the legal world. Now, my lord, here I just going to break away from the speech. When the petitioner was about 12 years old, she paid a visit to my office. And she came in and said, "Uncle, I want to do a show." At the time, they were hosting a program on RTM called Moving On To, an English program. So she came into the office and said, "We're doing a program on the life of a lawyer. So can you tell us what you do?" So thereon, I took them through the whole run of the mill on what we do, the robes, and did a small interview. And we appeared on TV. I did, and together with them. Now, little did I know that 10, 15 years later, this young lady walks into my office while she was in her second or third year of her degree, asking for an appointment to see me. I was thinking, who is this? And in walks Sabrina, all grown up, from the little girl that I know. And she did her first stint of attachment in my office. And thereafter, she also did her internship in 2018 and 2019. Now, the petitioner is thankful to Mr. Surendran for guiding her and teaching her the basics of law. And she feels overwhelmed to not only have myself, Surendran, as a role model, but also as family. And that's what we are. We are family, my lord. The petitioner wishes to say that she's been blessed with so much support from family members and friends. And her failure to name them specifically today does not in any way mean that she does not appreciate their contribution to her success and achievement. And she says a big thank you to them. The petitioner wishes to take this opportunity to thank her pupil master, Mr. Sandosh Anandan, for constantly grabbing every opportunity he gets to teach her and guide her, be it at work, on the area of law, and also life experiences. The petitioner recalls times where Mr. Sandosh would criticize her driving skill, particularly her memories for roads in KL, and her constant teasing before hearings where the petitioner gets into panic attacks. Now, these are only some moments to show how she enjoyed her pupillage and feels blessed and grateful to have completed her pupillage in the chambers of Mr. Sandosh Anandan. The petitioner wishes to say that Mr. Santosh has shaped her to become the person she is today. It is because of Mr. Sandosh and her fellow colleagues at Mr. Sandosh Anandan that she underwent a wholesome experience throughout her pupillage. And for that, she says, thank you alone is never enough. My lord, the petitioner describes herself as a bubbly girl who is very vocal and opinionated and is constantly hungry for attention. I can attest to this from the time she did her attachment and her internship with me. And she figures this is the reason why she read law, and as she craves for the spotlight in court and to do what she loves to do, talk and argue. The petitioner hopes to continue her education by pursuing a master's degree in criminal justice. And I'm told that she's just been accepted to do the postgraduate program at University of Malaya. And she's ready to embark into practice as a litigation lawyer. The petitioner believes she has what it takes to excel as an advocate and solicitor, and she's committed in pushing and improving herself any way possible to ensure she reaches for the stars. My lord, in the short period that the petitioner was with me as an attachment student and later as an intern, I find the petitioner to be hardworking, has an excellent skill in doing research, and has an eye for detail. Armed with these tools and her ever-willing attitude to learn, I believe Ms. Sabrina will be an asset to the legal fraternity, and I look forward to having her as a fellow counsel at the bar. My lord, I end by saying that I believe that the petitioner is a fit and proper person to be admitted and enroll as an advocate and solicitor of the High Court of Malaya. I believe that the petitioner's papers are in order and that my learned friends at the Attorney General's chambers, the Bar Council, the Kuala Lumpur and Selangor Bar Committee, respectively, have no objections to this petition.
Negara tiada bantahan, ya, Arif?
Dengan izin Yang Arif, Majlis Peguam Malaysia tiada bantahan.
Arif, Jawatan Kuasa Peguam Selangor tiada bantahan.
This being so, my Lord, I pray for the petitioner to be admitted, Petitioner Sabrina Muhammad Amin to be admitted as an advocate and solicitor of the High Court of Malaya, my Lord.
Dengan kuasa yang diberikan kepada saya di bawah Akta Profession Undang-Undang 1976, Mahkamah dengan ini menerima masuk Sabrina binti Muhammad Amin untuk didaftarkan sebagai Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaya.
Terima kasih, Arif.
Sama-sama.
Saya dengan rendah diri memohon agar Pempetisyen dapat menjumparkan dirinya sendiri.
Ya, dipersilakan.
Terima kasih, Yang Arif.
Ya, sama-sama.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, petisyen kedua WA1834703/2021 P2, sila perkenalkan diri dahulu.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, nama saya Delvina Kosidu, anak perempuan Gujaran Singh, pempetisyen kedua pada hari ini.
Silakan M2. M2, sila unmute.
Maaf. Dengan izin Yang Arif, nama saya Patwan Singh Sohanpal. Saya adalah peguam pengusul yang mewakili petisyen kedua, Delvina Kosidu. Saya juga merujuk kepada rakan-rakan bijaksana saya yang mewakili Jabatan Peguam Negara Malaysia, Majlis Peguam Malaysia dan Jawatan Kuasa Peguam Kuala Lumpur seperti mana yang diperkenalkan sebentar tadi. Dengan izin Yang Arif, saya memohon kebenaran mahkamah yang mulia ini untuk meneruskan ucapan saya dalam bahasa Inggeris.
Ya, dibenarkan, ya. Sila teruskan.
Ya, terima kasih Yang Arif.
Ya,
My Lord, the petitioner, Delvina Kosidu, is a graduate of the class of 2016 from the Queen's University of Belfast. A bright girl, she graduated with a second class upper degree and cleared her certificate of legal practice examination in just one sitting. And that we know, my Lord, nowadays is an achievement by itself. However, COVID-19 descended on us, and although she completed her certificate of legal practice in 2019, she could not start her pupillage journey until March 2021. This delayed her journey to become a practicing lawyer by quite a bit. Nevertheless, since March 2001, the petitioner has been chambering with my learned friend, Mr. Balwinder Singh Kent, at Kent Partnership. The petitioner describes her pupillage experience as nothing short of challenging. She was exposed to vast areas of knowledge and diversified areas of litigation. As such, the petitioner would like to take this opportunity to convey her utmost gratitude to her pupil master for providing her with such opportunities and guidance throughout her pupillage period and giving her the positive head start in the world of practice. The petitioner also thanks all the staff of Kent Partnership for their patience and teamwork and guidance shown to her. My Lord, Among her family members, the petitioner is known to be a gregarious young woman, doesn't work hard, but works intelligently and has produced results throughout an academic career. She credits her learning skills and methodology and quick gaps of understanding to all her family, and she believes that this has helped her in her pupillage journey. As an individual, the petitioner is friendly, approachable, and always and ever ready to get involved with her peers to provide assistance when any issues arise. She's always the one to put forward solutions and attempt new ideas. She's outgoing, loves discovering new places, culture, and in life, although she faced difficult challenges, she feels that this has made her an independent woman with commendable leadership skills that she wished to put forward to good use in her profession and activism. She is an activist and a strong advocate for equal opportunity and positivity. The petitioner is the younger child out of two siblings. She was born on the 24th of February 1994. My Lord, I must digress here and say that this is indeed an auspicious day, for it was also the day that my partnership was registered. She was born to Madam Manjat Kaur Sekon and late Mr. Gurcharan Singh Sidhu, and she grew up in a blessed family with the love, affection, and support of her parents and the vast extended family. For that, she wishes to place on record her gratitude today to all of them for believing in her and for supporting her at every stage of her life, and especially her siblings who have been a source of encouragement and support. At this juncture, the petitioner would also like to put on record the vast support she has received from a company of friends at work, at university, at school, and throughout her life. She says there are too many to name, and they will know who they are. She, in particular, also refers to her university mates at Queen's University for a lifetime of memories and keeping her sane and balanced. Lastly, she also wishes to thank me, and for me, it is a privilege. No thanking is required. And with this, Yang Arif, I believe is a good sum up of abilities of this petitioner. So, Yang Arif, saya sungguhnya percaya bahawa segala kertas-kertas pepetisyen berkenaan adalah teratur. Saya juga percaya tiada bantahan terhadap petisyen ini. Saya memohon rakan-rakan bijaksana untuk mengesahkan yang sama.
Negara tiada bantahan, ya Arif.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, Majlis Peguam Malaysia tiada bantahan.
Kuasa Peguam Kuala Lumpur tiada bantahan, Yang Arif.
I'm much obliged to all my colleagues. Terima kasih, Yang Arif. Saya memohon kebenaran bagi petition untuk menjubahkan dirinya sendiri.
Cik Patuan,
Ya.
saya tak boleh benarkan lagi untuk petition menyarungkan jubah sebab saya tak terima dia masuk lagi jadi peguam. Macam mana nak sarung jubah?
Ya, minta maaf Tuan. Going too fast ahead, I shall throw the train down. Saya memohon Tuan petitioner diterima sebagai Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaysia.
Dengan kuasa yang diberikan kepada saya di bawah Akta Profession Undang-Undang 1976, Mahkamah dengan ini menerima masuk Delvina Kaur Sidhu, anak perempuan Gurcharan Singh, untuk didaftarkan sebagai Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaya. Sekarang saya benarkan Cik Delvina untuk menjubahkan dirinya sendiri.
Terima
Dipersilakan.
kasih. Ya.
Sama-sama.
Terima kasih Yang Arif.
Sama-sama.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, petisyen ketiga WA 1847204-2021. P3, sila perkenalkan diri dahulu.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, saya Nik Nur Iman bin Nik Abdul Rashid, Pempetisyen ketiga.
Silakan M3.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, nama saya Bala Nair Tamudaran. Saya adalah Peguam pengusul untuk Pempetisyen ketiga, Encik Nik Nur Iman bin Nik Abdul Rashid. Yang Arif, bersama-sama saya adalah rakan-rakan bijaksana saya, iaitu wakil-wakil daripada Jawatan Peguam Negara, Majlis Peguam Malaysia dan Jawatan Kuasa Peguam Kuala Lumpur dan Selangor, seperti mana yang telah pun diperkenalkan sebentar tadi. Dengan izin Arif, saya mohon kebenaran untuk berhujah dalam bahasa Inggeris.
Ya, dibenarkan. Sila teruskan ya Cik Bala.
My Lord, allow me to introduce the petitioner. I'll keep it short. The petitioner was born on the 30th of December 1996 as the youngest child of the late Encik Nik Abdul Rashid bin Nik Abdul Majid, a former director and law professor at University Technology Mara, and Puan Siti Nora binti Awaluddin. The petitioner is a local boy, having been born and raised in Petaling Jaya, and he also pursued his primary and secondary education at Petaling Jaya, Selangor. My Lord, having lost his father prior to his birth in 1996, the petitioner inherited his late father's interest in law and completed his tertiary education at University Technology Mara, to which the petitioner subsequently graduated with a diploma in public administration in 2016, and he then proceeded with a bachelor's degree in law in 2021. Thereafter, the petitioner was fortunate to be offered a place to complete his pupillage at Master Sanjit Singh under the guidance of its principal, who's a very senior member of the bar and a very good friend of mine, Mr. Sanjit Singh, son of Sujit Singh. During the said period, the petitioner was given the opportunity to be involved in both civil and commercial litigation, being the primary areas of practice of Mr. Sanjit Singh. The petitioner wishes to express his utmost gratitude to the firm for the invaluable opportunities extended to him. On this commemorative day, the petitioner takes this opportunity to thank his father, the late Mr. Nik Abdul Rashid, as a renowned law professor in the 1980s as well as in the 1990s. The petitioner holds his late father in high regard and esteem for his sterling reputation and credentials, which form the very foundation of the petitioner's virtuous ambition to emulate the same in the legal fraternity. Similarly, the petitioner extends his gratitude to his mother, Puan Siti Nora, for as well as his siblings, Shah Hazli Izam, Nur Zakia, Nik Nur Sinar Surya, and Muhammad Hafiz, his soulmate, which he refers as the romantic partner, Sheikh Siti Marisa Elina, as well as his two beloved nieces, Aira Afrina and Irsa Inara. These important individuals had, throughout his challenging journey, stood loyally alongside the petitioner, constantly showering him with unwavering love and support. The petitioner expresses his eternal gratitude to these individuals for shaping him as the man that he is today. The petitioner takes this opportunity to convey his utmost gratitude and appreciation to his master, Mr. Sanjit Singh, for the undying patience, willingness, trust devoted to the petitioner during his tenure as a pupil at the firm. Knowing Mr. Sanjit Singh very well, I'm sure it would have been a very exciting last 9 months for the petitioner, and I must say for Sanjit Singh to also tolerate Mr. Nik in the last 9 months. The petitioner was at all times afforded ample opportunities and exposures to which such experiences greatly aided in honing his advocacy skills as a litigator, the petitioner is equally honored to be afforded the guidance, assistance, support from all other members of the firm, and namely Dia Damia, Roshan Prabhakaran, Mrs. Balwinder Singh, who is actually Mrs. Sanjit Singh's wife, Chair Rohaza, Adila, Rizal, and Peter. The petitioner wishes to thank them for their valuable guidance and assistance. He has another short list of names as well, my lord. Apart from the persons mentioned earlier, the petitioner wishes to express his gratitude to what he terms as the support group. They are Marisa Elena, Muhammad Yusri, Champaka, Delela, Farhana Azman, Stephanie June, Suraya, and Nisa. The petitioner is grateful for the motivation, support, and trust provided by them, which fueled him to realize his dream, which is to be a successful advocate and solicitor in Malaysia. The petitioner takes this opportunity to apologize for many cancelled commitments with them to prioritize work and promises to make it up to them in the near future. I'm not entirely sure whether he's able to keep that promise, but we'll see how it goes given the strenuous nature of legal practice. Last but not least, the petitioner would like to express his appreciation towards his university lecturers, especially Puan Fazlin Muhammad Zain, who nurtured and motivated the petitioner throughout his studies. Ya Arif, it is my belief that all course papers are in order. I believe that the petitioner is a qualified person to be admitted and enrolled as an advocate solicitor of the High Court of Malaya, and I also believe there are no objections from our learned friends.
Arif, Peguam Negara tiada bantahan.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, Majlis Peguam Malaysia tiada bantahan.
Arif, Jawatan Peguam Cara, Jawatan Kuasa Peguam Selangor tiada bantahan.
Just for clarification, saya nak tanya Cik Nick, adakah Cik Nur Imani your brother?
Yes, Yang Arif, he's my youngest brother.
I see, okay.
But there's no conflict because I'm representing Majlis Peguam Malaysia.
Tak apa, just to clarify. Ni tahniah.
Thank you.
Ya Arif, oleh yang demikian, saya dengan rendah diri memohon agar Pempetisyen Nik Nur Iman bin Nik Abdul Rashid diterima masuk dan didaftarkan sebagai seorang Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaya. Pohon Ya Arif membenarkan perintah seperti yang dipohonnya.
Dengan kuasa yang diberikan kepada saya di bawah Akta Profession Undang-Undang 1976, Mahkamah dengan ini menerima masuk Nik Nur Iman bin Nik Abdul Rashid untuk didaftarkan sebagai Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaya.
We are grateful, my lord. Ya Arif, saya memohon kebenaran untuk Pempetisyen menyarungkan jubahnya.
Ya, dipersilakan.
Terima kasih, Ya Arif.
Sama-sama.
Terima kasih, Ya Arif.
Sama-sama.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, petisyen keempat WA 1851804-2021. Di-4, sila perkenalkan diri dahulu.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, nama saya Chong Chian, petisyen keempat pada pagi ini.
Silakan M4.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, saya Y Seyong hadir bagi pihak Pempetisyen. Rakan-rakan bijaksana saya yang masing-masing mewakili yang berbahagia Peguam Negara Malaysia, Majlis Peguam Malaysia dan Jawatan Peguam Kuala Lumpur yang telah pun diperkenalkan awal sebelum ini. Yang Arif, saya memohon perintah, sebelum saya memohon perintah seperti dipohon, izinkan saya melafazkan sedikit sebanyak latar belakang Pempetisyen Chong Chi-Yen. Dan ini yang saya memohon Mahkamah untuk meneruskan ucapan saya dalam bahasa Inggeris.
Ya, dibenarkan. Ya, sila teruskan.
Terima kasih Yang Arif. May it please Your Lordship. On 25th March 2021, the petitioner was admitted to the UK bar as an actor barrister of Lincoln's Inn. After 3 delightful years of LLB and 1 agonizing year of the bar training course, the petitioner soon realized that her home country of Malaysia was where she belonged and where she wishes and her dream took form. As such, the petitioner returned with determination and high spirits to practice the skills learned and knowledge gleaned in the country of her birth. As fate would have it, Yang Arif, the petitioner was a young pupil who wanted a challenging, stimulating, and yet safe and nurturing environment to begin her long journey as a legal practitioner. Yang Arif, the petitioner would not have chosen anywhere else but Mrs. Vignaraj R.D. Ratnam Rajesh Kumar and Associates. She felt extremely fortunate and elated when the offer was extended to her, Yang Arif. Without a doubt, the offer was accepted by the petitioner and her journey as a pupil in chambers began. Fate brought her under the wings of her pupil master, Mr. Sivanesan Nadaraja, who in the months to come will teach her everything she needed to know and more. Mr. Sivanesan is a man of honor and integrity, principles which are deeply rooted in his core character, owing to his past 18 years of experience as a police officer. Yang Arif, today the petitioner would like to express her utmost gratitude to her parents, Mr. Cheong Wai Kit and Madam Chi Yun Tai. Without them, the petitioner would not be where she is today. No words can describe how thankful she is towards their endless love, support, and sacrifice. The petitioner would like to extend her gratitude towards her uncle, who has been ever so supportive towards any decisions that the petitioner has made and has been a guiding light since at a young age. Arif, the petitioner would like to further thank the partners in the firm for providing her with wide legal exposure, as well as steady guidance throughout her time in the firm. The partners were willing to extend their assistance unselfishly towards the petitioner, notwithstanding their busy and frantic work schedule. The petitioner is appreciative towards each and every partner for sharing their knowledge and being her mentor. Not to mention the helpful staff that make her time at the firm more fruitful by teaching her that some crucial skills are not taught in law and yet are integral to legal practice as a whole. Lastly, Yang Arif, the petitioner is extremely grateful to her mover today, who has kindly agreed to take time out from his hectic schedule to move her call. Yang Arif, dengan ini saya dengan sesungguhnya percaya bahawa Pempetisyen adalah seorang yang sesuai dan layak untuk diterima masuk dan didaftaraikan sebagai Peguam, Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaya. Yang Arif, saya percaya bahawa kertas-kertas kuasa Pempetisyen adalah teratur dan tiada apa-apa bantahan dari Yang Berbahagia, Peguam Negara Malaysia, Majlis Peguam Malaysia dan juga Jawatan Peguam Kuala Lumpur.
Terima kasih Yang Arif, Peguam Negara tiada bantahan.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, Majlis Peguam Malaysia tiada bantahan.
Izin Yang Arif, Jawatan Kuasa Peguam Kuala Lumpur tiada bantahan.
Terima kasih. Yang Arif, dengan ini saya dengan rendah diri memohon agar Pempetisyen Cheong Chi Yen diterima masuk dan didaftaraikan sebagai Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaya.
Dengan kuasa yang diberikan kepada saya di bawah Akta Profesyen Undang-Undang 1976, Mahkamah dengan ini menerima masuk Cheong Chi Yen untuk didaftarkan sebagai Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaya.
Terima kasih Yang Arif. Saya mohon agar Pempetisyen Cheong Chi Yen dibenarkan menjubahkan diri sendiri.
Ya, dipersilakan.
Terima kasih Yang Arif.
Sama-sama.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, petisyen kelima WA 18-595-05-2021. P5, sila perkenalkan diri dahulu.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, nama saya Tamezi, Pempetisyen kelima hari ini.
Silakan M5.
Izin Yang Arif, saya George Neo hadir bagi pihak Pempetisyen Tamezi pada hari ini. Rakan-rakan bijaksana saya yang masing-masing mewakili yang berbahagia Peguam Negara Malaysia, Majlis Peguam Malaysia dan Jawatan Kuasa Peguam Kuala Lumpur yang telah pun diperkenalkan sebentar tadi. Dengan izin Yang Arif, saya ingin memohon kebenaran Yang Arif untuk meneruskan ucapan saya dalam bahasa Inggeris.
Ya, diizinkan ya. Sila teruskan.
Yang Arif, may I introduce the petitioner Tamezi. Your petitioner was born in Kuching on the 24th October 1997 and is a second child of Mr. Tan Peng Hun and Mrs. Tay Chun Noi. Your petitioner had her early education in SJKC Chonghua No. 3 before continuing her secondary school at Tunku Putra School in Kuching. Your petitioner studied law at Cardiff University and graduated in June 2019. The petitioner then pursued her bar studies at BPP University, London. Upon completion of her bar studies, your petitioner commenced her pupillage in Messrs. Izzat, Khasran and Co. under the tutelage of my learned friend, Mr. Ko Sichia. My Lord, on this special day, your petitioner would like to thank a few people. The petitioner wishes to express the utmost gratitude to her parents for the effort and everything they have done for her. Her parents' encouragement, support, care, and unconditional love made her what she is today. No words can express how thankful she is for their support and love. Your petitioner would like to thank her dearest sister Amanda and her brother Chen Wen for always being supportive and giving her invaluable advice. The petitioner would like to thank her pupil master, Mr. Ko Sichia, for his mentorship, guidance, and opportunity given to her during her pupillage. The petitioner was able to learn well in the realms of civil litigation, thanks to his tutelage, for which she is eternally grateful. The petitioner is also grateful to her colleagues at Izzat, Khasran and Co. for their guidance and kindness. Your petitioner would like to specifically thank all her friends from school and university, especially Yusin, Kai, ST, Joey, Sing, Angel, Swen, and Shalin for always being there for her to make the good time even better and the tough times more bearable. I believe, my Lord, that your petitioner is a fit and proper person to be admitted and enrolled as an advocate and solicitor of this honorable court. I believe all the petitioner's papers are in order and that my learned friends from the Attorney General Chambers, the Bar Council, and the Kuala Lumpur Bar Committee, respectively, have no objection to this petition.
Izin Yang Arif, Peguam Negara tiada bantahan.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, Majlis Peguam Malaysia tiada bantahan.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, Jawatan Kuasa Peguam Kuala Lumpur tiada bantahan.
Yang Arif, saya dengan rendah dirinya mohon supaya Pempetisyen Tamezi diterima masuk dan didaftar sebagai Peguam Cara dan Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaya.
Dengan kuasa yang diberikan kepada saya di bawah Akta Profesyen Undang-Undang 1976, Mahkamah dengan ini menerima masuk Tan Meza untuk didaftarkan sebagai Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaya.
Terima kasih Arif. Arif, saya juga memohon kebenaran supaya Pempetisyen untuk menjubahkan dirinya sendiri.
Ya, dipersilakan.
Terima kasih Arif.
Sama-sama.
Terima kasih Yang Arif.
Sama-sama.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, petisyen ke-6 WA 18-598-05-2021 P6, sila perkenalkan diri dahulu.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, saya Amir Anissa binti Farouk, Pempetisyen ke-6 pada hari ini.
Silakan M6.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, saya Sanjit Singh, Peguam penyusul yang mewakili Pempetisyen ke-6 pada pagi ini, iaitu Amira Anissa binti Farouk. Turut bersama saya pada hari ini adalah rakan-rakan bijaksana saya yang daripada yang berbahagia Peguam Negara Malaysia, Majlis Peguam Malaysia dan juga Jawatan Kuasa Peguam Kuala Lumpur yang telah pun diperkenalkan sebentar tadi. Yang Arif, izinkan saya memperkenalkan Pempetisyen pada pagi ini, iaitu Amira Anissa binti Farouk. Pempetisyen merupakan pemegang graduan undang-undang dari Universiti Multimedia Malaysia. Beliau telah menyempurnakan latihannya dalam Kamal Ketuan James Montero di bawah naungan pupil master beliau dan rakan bijaksana saya, James P. Montero, yang mana saya juga kenal peguam tersebut. Dan yang Arif, saya yakin latihan yang diterima oleh Pempetisyen adalah lengkap dan teratur. Terlebih dahulu ya, Pempetisyen ingin mengucapkan perhargaan kepada kedua-dua ibu bapanya, iaitu Ernie Yusof dan Farouk Saleh, atas kepercayaan yang diberi, sokongan yang memangkin, semangat dan kasih sayang yang sentiasa tidak berbelah bahagi. Tanpa bimbingan mereka, Pempetisyen tidak akan berada di sini pada hari ini. Yang Arif, Pempetisyen telah dibesarkan dengan nilai-nilai murni, antara lain nilai empati oleh nenek beliau dan nilai disiplin oleh datuk beliau. Kedua-dua nilai yang Pempetisyen percaya diperlukan dalam bidang guaman ini dan telah memudahkan untuk Pempetisyen mencapai kejayaannya pada hari ini. Saya dimaklumkan ya Arif, bahawa Pempetisyen telah dibesarkan oleh nenek dan datuknya dengan kasih sayang dan pengorbanan yang sememangnya tidak mampu dibalas. Maka Pempetisyen ingin mendedikasi kejayaannya pada hari ini kepada nenek dan datuk beliau, iaitu Puan Hayati Abdul Kudus dan Encik Muhammad Saleh Lamsah. Yang Arif, Pempetisyen juga mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada pupil master beliau, James P. Montero, dan rakan-rakan kongsinya, iaitu Vishal Kumar dan John Skelchi, dan juga konsultan diploma itu, iaitu Sherlina Yogeswaran, atas bimbingan dan latihan yang diberi tanpa mengira pangkat atau jurang pengalaman. Dalam kata-kata Pempetisyen sendiri, their humility in this demanding profession is their best trait. Seterusnya, Pempetisyen ingin mengucapkan penghargaan yang tinggi kepada rakan-rakan sekerjanya, Benjamin Tun, Queenie Ban, Nurdisa Norazak dan Ko Sheren, ke atas kesabaran dan kegigihan dalam tunjuk ajar mereka sepanjang tempoh pupilage-nya. Dan juga kepada tulang belakang firma tersebut, iaitu Encik Arifin, Pia, Ain, Ekin dan Didi, atas tangan yang saling membantu. Pempetisyen juga berterima kasih kepada adik-adiknya, Aiman Hakim dan Alia Adriana, yang mengajar beliau erti toleransi dan kepimpinan. Kepada mak saudaranya yang beliau menganggap sebagai kakak kandungnya sendiri, Farah Nabilah, kerana sering kali menjadi konfidennya Yang Arif Pempetisyen juga berterima kasih kepada keluarganya yang lain di Damansara Selangor maupun di Kota Kinabalu Sabah atas sokongan yang diberi sejak kecil. Kini terutamanya kepada nenek dan datuknya di Sabah, iaitu Puan Hajah Azalina Abdullah dan Encik Haji Yusof Haji Talib atas doa berkat yang tidak henti kepada cucunya yang berada di seberang Laut Cina Selatan. Pempetisyen sebagai anak dan cucu yang pertama kepada kedua-dua belah ibu bapanya berharap untuk menjadi kebanggaan kepada 22 orang adik sepupunya. It's a very large family, right? She hopes to live up to her reputation. Yang Arif tidak terlupa juga Anik Daniel dan keluarganya atas sokongan yang diberi. Tenaga-tenaga pengajar, sahabat-sahabat dari sekolah rendah sehingga ke peringkat universiti yang mana di antara lain Sofia, Azlan, Andri, Adlia, Amin, Izayah, Subatra dan Nora yang telah membantu beliau sama ada secara fizikal, mentally atau secara spiritually. Akhir sekali ya, Pempetisyen juga menyatakan bahawa Pempetisyen tidak akan berada di sini tanpa dididik dari majikan-majikan sebelumnya, iaitu Tuan Harjit Sandu Wan and Associates dan Tuan Badrul Baharin and Partners. Amazing, Arif. Kertas-kertas kausa yang menyokong petisyen pada hari ini saya percaya adalah teratur dan sempurna, Yang Arif. Dan saya percaya beliau merupakan seorang yang layak. Dan saya sesungguhnya percaya bahawa rakan-rakan bijaksana saya daripada badan-badan berkanun pada pagi ini tidak mempunyai apa-apa bantahan terhadap petisyen ini.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, Peguam Negara tiada bantahan.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, Majlis Peguam Malaysia tiada bantahan.
Izin Yang Arif, Jawatan Kuasa Peguam Kuala Lumpur tiada bantahan.
Terima kasih. Justru itu Yang Arif, saya dengan rendah diri memohon agar Pempetisyen Amira Anissa binti Farouk diterima masuk dan didaftaraikan sebagai seorang Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaya.
Dengan kuasa yang diberikan kepada saya di bawah Akta Profesyen Undang-Undang 1976, Mahkamah dengan ini menerima masuk Amira Anissa binti Farouk untuk didaftarkan sebagai Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaya.
Terima kasih Yang Arif. Yang Arif, saya seterusnya memohon kebenaran Mahkamah untuk Pempetisyen menyarungkan jubahnya secara sendiri.
Ya, dipersilakan.
Coba.
Terima kasih Arif.
Ya, sama-sama.
Very much obliged, Arif.
Okay.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, petisyen ke-7 WA 18640005-2021 P7, sila perkenalkan diri dahulu.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, saya Hon Xiaopei, Pempetisyen ke-7 pada pagi ini.
Silakan M7.
Yang Arif, Kit Sen Fong mewakili tertuduh. Pempetisyen. Tertuduh pula. Biasa sangat Yang Arif pergi ke Mahkamah Jenayah Yang Arif. Yang Arif, saya mengusul bagi pihak Pempetisyen, Cik Hon Xiaopei, rakan-rakan bijaksana saya daripada AGC, Majlis Peguam dan Jawatan Kuasa Peguam di KL telah pun diperkenalkan. Yang Arif. Mohon izin Yang Arif untuk continue in English.
Ya, dibenarkan. Sila teruskan, Cik.
Yang Arif, petitioner was born 24 years ago, eldest child in the family, and considers herself to be a student of the sciences, my lord. She actually envisioned herself being more towards a science-related career, but somehow during the A levels, she took on the law subject, or rather at the A levels, and ended up relishing the challenges. She then commenced her education via a twinning, they call it a degree transfer program, my lord, to Leeds. She completed her degree, I must admit, with first-class honors, a Bachelor of Laws degree from University of Leeds in 2019. And thereafter, Yang Arif, she commenced, of course, her legal training for the Bar Professional Training Course. I think I said it right, at the UK. She graduated and she is more than competent, according to the English Bar. Very competent. Yang Arif, she commenced her pupillage, the Tetuan Zaid Ibrahim and Co., and had the privilege of 2 masters, Ms. Wong Ki Hui and Ms. Ku Yu Lin, because one had retired from practice and Ku Yu Lin took over. So she had the benefit of 2 masters and was under the section of practice called Projects, Energy and Infrastructure. And on that note, my lord, she was given plenty of ample opportunity to learn. She learned, grew, and offers her thanks to all those in the department, especially Ms. Kara Lee. And on this particular day, Yang Arif, Pempetisyen wishes to express sincere gratitude, of course, to Mum and Dad firstly, for all the love, support, and not to mention the financial sacrifices, for which she would not have made it without that. Yang Arif, the petitioner would make honorable mention, Yang Arif, of thanks to Rakan Sekerja, Chelsea Lim, Tan Wei Min, and Mr. Tan Wu Hong for their time and patience in guiding her at the workplace. She also wishes to register her thanks to pupil mates Raihan and Nelsimus, Vivian, Andrew, and Eugene for their help. Yang Arif, Section 11 of the Legal Profession Act 1976 mandates several prerequisites, Yang Arif, prasyarat, that enables a petitioner to be deemed what I read here as qualified person. Saya telah membuat kajian ekstensif, Yang Arif, and to my great relief, my lord, firstly, the petitioner, as confirmed by Jabatan Pendaftaran Negara, is of age, 18. Secondly, Yang Arif, my inquiries at PDRM, Bukit Aman, Criminal Registry of Malaysia and Singapore, confirms that she has no previous record denial, in particular involving fraud and dishonesty. So she ticks that box as well, my lord. Jabatan Insolvency Malaysia verifies to me that she is not an adjudged bankrupt under the laws. The Bar of England and Wales, as I've mentioned earlier, authenticates her as being very competent. She's completed her legal aid training, and I believe the Bar Council of Malaysia and the KL Bar will confirm shortly to Yang Arif that all her course papers are in order in support of this petition. And I believe, my lord, that there are no objections from either the Jabatan Peguam Negara, my friends at the Bar Council and the State Bar. So Yang Arif, on that note, Yang Arif, berdasarkan kesemua yang dinyatakan dan saya tomahkan di atas, saya percaya, Yang Arif, Pempetisyen merupakan seorang yang layak dan juga sesuai untuk diterima, masuk dan didaftaraikan sebagai Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaya. As I mentioned, my lord, kesemua kertas koza teratur. So Yang Arif, saya dengan rendah diri memohon agar Pempetisyen Cik Hon Xiao Pei diterima masuk and an order to be made accordingly. PSP, Yang Arif.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, tiada bantahan dari Puan Negara.
Dengan izin Yang Arif, Majlis Peguam Malaysia tiada bantahan.
Izin Yang Arif, Jawatan Kuasa Peguam Kuala Lumpur tiada bantahan.
Dengan kuasa yang diberikan kepada saya di bawah Akta Profesyen Undang-Undang 1976, Mahkamah dengan ini menerima masuk Hon Xiao Pei untuk didaftarkan sebagai Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaya.
We're obliged, my lord. Saya justru itu Yang Arif memohon kebenaran Yang Arif supaya Pempetisyen dibenarkan untuk menyarung jubah sendiri Yang Arif.
Dipersilakan.
Obliged, my lord.
Terima kasih Yang Arif.
Ya, sama-sama.
Terima kasih kepada kesemua wakil jabatan dan peguam pengusul. Tahniah diucapkan kepada semua pempetisyen yang telah didaftaraikan sebagai Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara Mahkamah Tinggi Malaya. Diminta sekali lagi diingatkan agar tuan-puan kekal di kedudukan masing-masing dan tidak menutup video walaupun setelah selesai ucapan dari Yang Arif Hakim. Terima kasih. Seterusnya, ucapan dari Yang Arif Hakim.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh dan selamat pagi. Pertamanya, Mahkamah ingin merakamkan ucapan terima kasih kepada semua pihak, terutamanya daripada wakil-wakil yang berbahagia Tan Sri Peguam Negara Malaysia, Majlis Peguam Malaysia, Jawatan Kuasa Peguam Kuala Lumpur dan Selangor, serta semua peguam pengusul yang hadir di perbicaraan kita pada pagi ini. Saya juga ingin mengambil kesempatan ini untuk merakamkan ucapan terima kasih kepada ibu bapa, keluarga, rakan-rakan para pempetisyen dan semua pihak yang sudi meluangkan masa untuk hadir secara maya bagi menyaksikan perbicaraan kita yang disiarkan secara langsung melalui sidang video pada pagi ini. Tidak lupa juga saya mengambil kesempatan ini untuk merakamkan ucapan terima kasih dan syabas kepada semua tenaga pengajar iaitu masters dan firma-firma Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara yang telah membimbing pempetisyen sehingga menjadi peguam pada pagi ini. This morning, I have had the pleasure of hearing 7 petitions for admission to the Malaysian Bar and admitted as an advocate and solicitor of the High Court of Malaya. Sabrina binti Muhammad Amin, Delvina Kosidu anak perempuan Gurcharan Singh, Nik Nur Iman bin Nik Abdul Rashid, Chong Chiyan, Tan Miza, Amira Anisa binti Farouk, and Hon Xiaopei. Tahniah, syabas, and congratulations to all of you. In granting your petition, you have effectively become members of the Malaysian Bar. So on occasions such as this, the tradition dictates that I should offer you some advice on legal practice. In my experience on the bench, I've encountered good litigation lawyers and bad litigation lawyers. It is not difficult to distinguish the two. The good ones follow the basic rules of litigation. The bad ones do not. What are these rules? There are many, but I will focus on just 3 of them in this session. First, economy should be your watchword in your speech and the language you choose and the time you take to find the relevant documents and in your pace. Seek to convey the impression that you do not want to take a moment longer than necessary. Do not, however, appear rushed or agitated. That would be self-defeating. Cool, controlled economy is what you are seeking to convey. Be always aware that time is of the essence. As someone once said, if you can't find oil in it in 10 minutes, stop digging. There is nothing worse than a lawyer dragging his feet. Secondly, never underestimate the intelligence of the bench. To do so will give the impression of arrogance, and arrogance will get you nowhere, both for your client and for your reputation. There is a story in England about a young barrister who delivered to the chairman of the bench a beautiful and condescending lecture on the elementary principles of sentencing. The chairman sat there looking somewhat bemused, but said nothing. Imagine the barrister's shock and embarrassment when he eventually discovered that the chairman was none other than Lord Devlin, a retired Court of Appeal in ordinary who was standing in as chairman on that day. The moral of that story is clear. Don't try to be too clever and never be condescending towards the bench. Thirdly, be ready to expect questions from the bench. I've come across situations where lawyers were caught completely off guard when certain questions were posed by the judge in the course of the proceedings. It is a mistake to think that the judge is there merely to listen and nothing else. Very often, questions will be asked for clarification or relevancy and etc. In the appellate courts, the Court of Appeal and the Federal Court especially, this practice is a rule than an exception. You could win or lose your case on how you respond to the questions asked. What this means is that you must be well prepared. You must know your facts and your law, and you must be able to find your way around your papers and your authorities without delay. On other matter, I should emphasize, it is experience. There is no substitute for experience in litigation. Experience is something you cannot get out of a book, nor is it taught in university. It has to be nurtured and developed by a process of trials and tribulations. But it is an absolute necessity. For young lawyers like you, that experience starts in the subordinate courts. It is a misconception to think that work in the subordinate courts is any less difficult or less important than work in the high courts. The rules which govern the subordinate courts and the high courts are substantially similar. The Evidence Act is applicable to both courts. Exposure in the subordinate courts is an invaluable asset as you move on to the high courts and thereafter to the appellate courts. So my advice to you is this: don't be over ambitious. Start from the bottom and work your way up. Get the relevant experience and exposure, and you will be well on your way to a successful career as a litigation lawyer. May I also take this opportunity of congratulating your parents or guardians who must surely be extremely proud and happy with your achievements. It may be fair to say your achievements are in some ways their achievements. So please take the opportunity after this ceremony to thank them for their support and their patience. On that note, let me conclude by congratulating all of you on your admission to the Malaysian Bar and wish you every success in your chosen career. And with the hashtag of stay home, stay safe, stay healthy, we will now adjourn. Thank you.
Diminta tuan-puan kekal di video masing-masing kerana ada sesi fotografi. Boleh adjust kedudukan